Hi Leute, Talking Tim hier. Ich habe euch ja in den letzten Tagen schon ein bisschen was zu Aquaponic gedroppt. Heute erfahrt ihr auch wieso, geht sozusagen weiter. Wir fahren nämlich mit euch zu Habitat, unserem Premium-Partner in British Columbia, Kanada. Die bauen da mit Aquaponic ziemlich gutes Cannabis an, das schauen wir uns mal an. Habitat, unser Premium-Partner aus British Columbia, mit denen sind wir schon länger in einer ziemlich guten Partnerschaft. Und deswegen durften wir da auch alle anreisen und sogar ein bisschen irgendwie Kameraleute mitbringen und können euch da heute was richtig Cooles zeigen. Die sind so irgendwie 2 Stunden nördlich von Kelowna gelegen, also in British Columbia muss man dann von Vancouver aus schon noch mal eine Weile fahren. Dafür irgendwie, ja, landschaftlich absolut irgendwie traumhafte Gegend, so wie ich mir immer Kanada vorgestellt habe. Genau, man sollte vielleicht nicht im Winter hinfahren, das haben wir letztes Mal gemacht, das könnte ein bisschen knifflig werden, aber waren wir zum Glück nicht und deswegen war es auch einfach echt ein schöner Besuch.
Well, we're here with Habitat, one of our suppliers in British Columbia, with Rudy, the founder. We have the Waffle Bite from them in the portfolio. Rudy, Waffle Bite is our most selling product. So what's the secret success of the product?
Habitat's a aquaponics facility, so what that means is that we have 2 sides of our farm. We have a salmon farm and we have a cannabis farm, and really we've built a symbiotic relationship between the 2 of them by using the nutrient-rich waters that comes from our salmon farm to grow all of our cannabis. What that means is we're very resource efficient. We get organic nutrients right from the salmon farm, and we're able to use all the water that would normally be waste and use that to grow commercial crop like cannabis. We also feel that a lot of our quality that we see in products like our Waffle Bites comes from the interaction between a living symbiotic system and the plant.
Aquaponic ist ein ganz cooles System, was die Fischzucht mit der Pflanzenzucht verbindet. Es werden da also Fische gezüchtet in relativ großen Tanks und deren Ausscheidungen dienen den Pflanzen als Nährstoffe. Die Pflanzen reinigen das Wasser sozusagen, das kann zu über 90% wiederverwendet werden. Annähernd geschlossener Nährstoffkreislauf und Wasserkreislauf, also super nachhaltig, aber nicht so ganz einfach. Let's go!
We have really 2 sides of our farm. One side's the fish farm, and the other side's the cannabis farm, and we've really integrated the 2 farms together by taking the what would be waste from the fish farm, which is the nitrogen and calcium and magnesium that's naturally in the water, and really capturing that to be the base for our nutrient solution for the cannabis cultivation. We have a whole production and farm plan that we grow coho salmon with. So we now hatch eggs and grow up the fish. Here we used to sell all the meat, but now we're really focused on the genetics of the salmon and being able to reproduce them and then sell fertilized eggs to other farms. In the region where we're at is home to one of the most famous salmon runs in British Columbia, the Adams Lake Run. So being very agricultural focused, we wanted to produce a protein that not only was really sustainable, but also was iconic and part of the BC brand here in the Shuswap. So that paired with another iconic product that comes from British Columbia, which was cannabis, we really felt that could build the basis for our Canadian British Columbia brand.
All right, now we are at Habitat on the cannabis side of things.
We'll see kind of how the roots are submerged in the essentially the nutrient-rich water that comes from the salmon farm, as well as kind of the closed environment that we run very, very tight environmental controls. We'll pop into here and take a look at a crop that's at day 37 for Waffle Bites. We try to keep it very clean, obviously in terms of the quality standards that we want to have for exporting to Europe. And a part of that is monitoring. As you can kind of see underneath here, the roots are just growing straight into water, where we're recirculating through our sumps, monitoring the pH and nutrient levels, and maintaining a temperature that prevents any sort of pathogen growth on the root system. It's a very technical way of growing. It's like driving a Ferrari.
Why do so little or so few companies do that?
It's very technical. So Your nutrient ratios have to be perfect because the plants have basically full access to all the nutrients. It's complicated to get refined and dialed in. It's once you get it rolling, then it becomes very consistent, and you get kind of the results that we've been getting that have been so well received in Germany. And our system's also really unique in the fact that we don't what we call veg. The plants that grow them up, they go in at about 6 to 8 inches, and we put them right into flowering. And within 2 weeks, this is how big the canopy is.
And that's also an advantage of aquaponics, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a very fast way of growing, just because again the access to nutrients is so direct. This is the stage of the plant where they'll actually start to really start building up the cola, which is the flower that we harvest, and start really building the fragrance that you smell in the crop.
Yeah.
This is every week that goes by here now, the room is going to start getting stronger and stronger of that waffle bite smell that everybody loves.
I like it. It's sweet and spicy at the same time. It's really nice.
Ja, das Team von Habitat baut für uns mittlerweile schon 3 verschiedene Sorten an, die alle in-house, also bei Habitat selbst entwickelt und gezüchtet wurden und die auch schon im Legacy-Markt irgendwie ein bisschen Geschichte haben und da auf jeden Fall Erfolge feiern konnten.
I mean, we really named our cultivar to the smell and the flavor of what we felt it embodied, and to us the smell is really a sweet, kind of almost maple syrupy, sourdough kind of smell and flavor, and so and carried with it a bit of a punch because it's a very potent cultivar, and so that's where the name Waffle Bites came into it. It tastes like tastes like waffles with maple syrup, but it gives you a bit of a bite at the end in terms of the potency. So
Very nice, very nice. Sounds very Canadian.
yeah.
So what's the secret in the genetic of the product?
It's just been years of refining our genetic and sorting through hundreds of genetics that either ones that we've bred or brought in from other breeders to find the perfect genetic that grows within our system. And then on top of that, it's really about refining the system itself to pull the best out of the plant that you're growing. It's very hard to cycle through multiple different cultivars because every single genetic can respond differently.
I mean, for us, it's good to understand that you own the genetic exclusive, that there's no risk that anyone else could do the same product in the same time, and that you always have access actually to grow it. That's really like good for us.
Yeah, no, that's the basis. We have a genetics locker of thousands of seeds, and so even with these ones, we can sort through more, and we can keep bringing new products down the road that operate well within our aquaponics system. So
we just started the nursery here at Habitat. All the genetics are waffle, like all the Waffle Bites, gunpowder, etc. are all our genetics from the legacy market that we've grandfathered into our legal license. Now we have our babies, and these take about 2 weeks. We have them in veg, and then we'll take them into the rooms for a full flip over to flower within 2 weeks. So it's a very quick turnover, but they seem to do really well with it. They want their big grow light.
They're ready for aquaponics.
Exactly, yeah. And then they'll go in to our aeroponics. So everything is aeroponic in here, watering the roots through wind and water. And that's where we start to build these beautiful roots. Once they get to about here, then they're ready to be transplanted into the large troughs that you guys see in the rooms and flipped over. But they'll get to about here, and then from there, we take them into the rooms. So they grow nice and strong here so that they can survive in the full water over there.
Yeah.
So when they're in that aeroponic state, they're looking for water, looking, and then when they get over there, they find it. And I think it has a beautiful little marriage going from aeroponic to hydroponic.
Hier sehen wir den Strain Waffle Bites. Kennt der ein oder andere, die ein oder andere aus den deutschen Apotheken. Aktuell 14 Tage alt. Das ist der erste Raum. Wir sind aquaponisch angebaut. Das Besondere ist, und was Kayla auch meinte, wenn die Wurzeln quasi beziehungsweise die Pflanzen in Wasser großgezogen werden vom ersten Tag, ist auch kein Problem, wenn sie fortlaufend in Feuchtigkeit sind. Die Pflanzen fassen sich dort dann dementsprechend an und wachsen und gedeihen, wie man sieht, prächtig.
Genau, also die bewurzelten Stecklinge, die können im Grunde direkt in die Nährlösung. Also man tunkt die da nicht einfach nur rein, sondern im Fall von Habitat haben wir ja gesehen, dass die kommen erst in eine aeroponische Anlage. Das heißt, da hängen die Pflanzen, Luft, da hängen die Wurzeln in der Luft. werden von unten so mit so Sprenklern oder so Sprühneblern mit Nährlösung besprüht. Kriegen da jederzeit alles, was sie brauchen, so, ne, bis zu so einer Höhe von ungefähr so, sieht man in dem Video. Und dann ziehen die um und kommen dann in ein hydroponisches System. Das heißt, da ist irgendwie viel mehr Wasser, da hängen die Wurzeln direkt im Wasser drin und die Luft wird dann mit Sauerstoff versorgt. Weil Wurzeln brauchen immer Sauerstoff und Nährlösung. Ja, eins geht nicht ohne das andere und das kann man entweder machen, indem die in der Luft hängen und mit Nährlösung besprüht werden oder umgekehrt, indem sie im Wasser hängen und mit Luft beblubbert werden sozusagen. Genau, und hier in der Anlage haben sie beides kombiniert. Erst Aeroponik, dann Hydroponik. Und das Ganze in einem Aquaponik-System. Also ist ein bisschen verwirrend von den Begriffen her, aber naja, es ist halt ein komplexes System.
So let's take a look now at day 28. You'll see now the formations coming nicely on the trichomes right on those first ones. Means she's coming together well.
A lot of flowers for each plant.
A lot of flowers. So that really comes down to the training. So our system's an R&D system. It's a pilot system for the aquaponics technology that we built. So when they're in here, we start to train them after they've been transplanted. Once they start to grow up to about here, that's why you'll see this trellis and these little clips. So we actually train the girls, which moves their branches sideways instead of up. And with that, we're able to get a lot more top buds, because more buds are getting more light.
Yeah.
So that's why you get to see all of these beautiful formations, and they come all along the vine. That's the nice part about it. So everything is getting light.
It's a perfect leaf.
It's a perfect leaf. So everything after harvest is hang to dry. We dry for about 10 days post-harvest. Always has a nice trichome density. Gunpowder has even more.
Really?
So that's what we want to see when we're drying, is that crystal formation all the way up these primary leaves. That tells us that the trichomes came through nicely.
How many days have these dried here?
So just over a week. So then they'll have another week, and you can feel already it's quite dense. Yeah, so for another 5 days, and then hand trimmed, and then we'll take that into a 21 to 28 day cure, depending on strain. Here we have our gunpowder milkshake, the latest one coming to you guys in Germany. So as you can tell, very caked in trichomes. She glosses like nothing we've grown here. So Waffle Bites is frosty. This is next level frosty. It's more of the caryophyllene. We get farnesene in that. So it's got a couple dominants that are not so standard in the strains that you'd see in the market. Definitely has more of a sedative effect. This is our one. This is what I like to call my relaxing strain. So at the end of the day, that's what I'll smoke. Very different effects than Waffle Bites. So with the Cake and Caviar brand, we have this kind of juxtapose of, you know, sativa versus indica. That's not something we really believe in as a scale of what to smoke, because everyone has a different experience. But ultimately what we've found is that these two strains certainly do provide opposite experiences for a lot of people. So playing, like I said, to that Cake and Caviar. So Blueberry Yum Yum. This is our #1 strain in Canada. So Blueberry Yum Yum. Very high, it's actually very high in limonene, myrcene, caryophyllene, and then there's a little bit of linalool as well in that. But it's packs a punch, I'll tell you that much.
I can imagine.
Both on the nose. I think that's the
Definitely
biggest,
on the nose.
the biggest pull to it. And there's our Waffle Bites.
What are the dominant terpenes?
I think it's the myrcene in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of Mandarin Sunset. So in the cake genetic, it's a Dosido Mandarin Sunset cross that we bred into this. And that's, I think, where a lot of that kind of, you get a little bit of sweet and citrus on it, even though it's got that syrupiness to it as well.
Ja, und das hier ist nämlich jetzt ein super spannender Einblick so hinter die Kulissen. Blüteräume und Vegetationsräume immer spannend, so die lebende Pflanze zu sehen. Also wird nie langweilig, aber so, wo für mich so ein bisschen das Salz in der Suppe ist, sind halt diese Post-Harvest-Prozesse, also alles, was nach der Ernte passiert. Wie wird getrocknet, wie lange, beziehungsweise wie schnell wird getrocknet, wie schonend wird getrocknet, darauf läuft es hinaus. Wie lange wird gecured, wie wird danach getrimmt, wie wird das Zeug verpackt, so, ne? Also alles das, die Qualität entsteht so im Wachstum, vor allem im Blüteraum, sage ich immer, und dann muss die aber so erhalten und konserviert und vielleicht sogar noch ein bisschen rausgekitzelt werden in allem, was so nach der Ernte stattfindet. Das ist eben der Post-Harvest-Bereich, den Kayla uns hier ganz schön gezeigt hat. Und auch hier läuft bei Abi Habitat eigentlich so alles, wie wir es uns eigentlich wünschen. Also das wird schonend gemacht, da wird vielleicht eher ein bisschen mehr Zeit investiert als weniger und alles soll darauf hinführen, dass quasi die Qualität so weit wie möglich erhalten bleibt, die da im Grow-Raum entsteht und das Produkt so schön wie möglich bei unseren Patientinnen ankommt.
So we don't have any eggs in here right now, but this is where we would go and spawn. So we would have a spawning ceremony, and then we would take the fertilized eggs, or hope to be fertilized eggs, and they would end up in these trays, which have fresh running water going through them at all times. You can hear it here, and you can see it trickling. So it's an ever-ending current, kind of, just like as if they were born in the wild. They're born in a stream for the most part, right? The salmon come upstream to lay their eggs, fertilize, and then they're hatching up there. So we imitate that exact environment in both temperature as well as water circulation and things like that. Once we hatch them, they go into these tanks and we start feeding them. They're so cute. In little schools. We take them to different life cycles, and then we will select specific ones that show strength. We can separate male to female, all that kind of stuff to bolster the genetics. With the photo periods that I'm sure Rudy discussed with you guys, with the light on, light off, that allows us to grow them to maturity at 18 months versus in the wild, which is 4 years. So it's pretty crazy.
And that's a
just
mix
the
of
power
feed
of
and
the
genetics.
sun. No cloudy days.
All right.
And for each pound of feed, obviously these guys aren't eating pounds, but for every pound or kilogram of feed, they for the most part gain a kilogram of weight themselves. So it's a very interesting species that way. They're very efficient, yeah, with their feed.
Ja, und was Habitat unter den besonderen Anbauern noch mal ein bisschen besonderer macht, ist, dass die in dieser Aquaponikkultur nicht einfach irgendeinen Fisch züchten, sondern irgendwie richtig guten und auch großen, muss ich sagen, Biolachs, Coho-Lachs. Die machen wirklich alles, die brüten die Eier aus, tun die Eier dann, also die jungen Fische in die Tanks, lassen die dort groß werden und ich hatte mal das Vergnügen, so einen Lachs beim Grillen zu probieren und also einfach Premium. Auch, also Lachs, Cannabis, alles bei Habitat alles Premium. Auf jeden Fall. Wir hatten das Glück, dort irgendwie einen Abend eingeladen worden zu sein beim Team und dort beim Grillen bewirtet zu werden. Das Mediateam hat es da leider noch nicht geschafft, deswegen gibt es auch keine Videos dazu, aber ich kann euch sagen, der Lachs war ja, absolut Premium.
So in here, this is where all the magic happens. So you get the fish waste that comes in, and that will get separated out to a solids digester. The rest of the water gets treated, and 99.7% of the water gets recycled back to the fish. So we recycle basically all the water that gets used on that fish side. So the fish water goes through an ammonia treatment process, and then it goes through an ozone treatment process, and then that gets returned to the fish. And then the waste is separated, and that separation goes into this large tank over here, which is called an aerobic digester. And that will break down the waste from the fish into nutrients that we use for the plants. And then from that side, we dilute it out and it goes back to the plants. Aquaponics itself is a very interesting technology that's been tried to be developed over the last few decades, but has not seen a lot of really great success as far as profitability and things like that, while also sticking to the ethical and sustainable aspects of the system. So that's something that Habitat is really focused on, and what we've built here is to research and develop ways of building this system out in a better manner that is both affordable and ethical for both the plants and animals that are inside of it. So for us, that was extremely exciting to sort of achieve that within our system. There's less flush, there's less wastage than you'd see in a regular grow. We want to build that out as far as solar and things like that, so it's a never-ending process. Try to innovate and be the future of something that ultimately has been done in a way that's been underground and hasn't been looked at in a way that needs to be in that sense.
Dieses Aquaponiksystem, die haben das mittlerweile so gut eingewählt, dass die über 90% des Wassers wiederverwenden können. Naja, wir haben ja von Kayla gehört, pro Kilo Futter, was man den Lachsen gibt, kriegt man auch ungefähr 1 Kilo Lachs raus. Ne? Also super gute Nährstoffverwerter. Plus die Ausscheidungen werden noch als Düngemittel geupcycelt sozusagen. Und ja, ich meine, was kann man mehr wollen? Fast annähernd geschlossene Kreislaufsysteme, wassereffizient, passt. Also ja, absolut top.
Well, my background was coming from sustainable agriculture. We ran a bison ranch and focused a lot on regenerative farming. And so when we wanted to move into the technology forward area of controlled environment agriculture, we really wanted to look at ways to make that more sustainable because it does use so much power. It is very fertilizer intensive. So when we looked at wanting to pursue cannabis, we wanted to pair it with a sustainable farming operation. So that's where the aquaponics came into it, and what we could do to make agriculture in today's age more sustainable, and that's what we believe we've done here with Habitat, and really is our core ethos behind how we grow.
Kanada ist ja grundsätzlich, finde ich, immer eine Reise wert, vor allem British Columbia, so habe ich mir immer Kanada vorgestellt, und wenn man dann da ankommt, dann übertrifft es noch jede Erwartung. Man will einfach auf dem Weg zur Anlage schon am liebsten alle 5 Minuten stehen bleiben und Fotos machen. Das ist einfach irgendwie spektakulär. Auch Land und Leute, so die Cannabis-Kultur, also man trifft da Leute, die schon in 2., 3. Generation in Cannabis arbeiten und also schon auch im Legacy-Markt. Und dieses ganze Vermächtnis, so diese Basis für eine Kultur, die dann sowas entstehen lässt und solche Blüten treibt, wie eben ein Aquaponik-System, wo geiler Lachs und geiles Cannabis gleichzeitig rauskommen. Und deswegen bin ich auch froh, dass ich euch das heute mal so ein bisschen zeigen konnte. Und ich hoffe, da kommt noch ganz viel mehr. Und ja, bleibt dran.